Barebones PCs are something that we do not often talk about, but they're really nice because they basically come half pre-built, and then you just need to select a few parts, throw it together, and you have yourself a working gaming PC.
And the one we bought was only $99, and from a brand called Shuttle that has a lot of history that we weren't familiar with before, but gives us a really good canvas to build, of course, a living room Steam machine. Let's talk about this build after a word from today's sponsor.
Let's be honest, keeping gaming setups and computers clean can be pretty annoying. With electronics, it's easy to damage components if they're not handled right, and disassembling keyboards and other tech to deep clean is a hassle. That's why today's video sponsor Fantic and their B10 Pro Max is perfect for PC builders and tech enthusiasts for getting those cleaning jobs done fast. The B10 Pro Max is an electric air duster that's safe for PC components. Wiping with dry cloth creates static and attracts more dust while regular vacuums carry static risk. The B10 Pro Max uses pure airflow, however, which is 100% static free and safe for motherboards and electronics. The best part is it cleans tight gaps vacuums can't reach. This is perfect for blasting dust out of fans, heat sinks, screw holes, keyboards, mice, and cable gaps, all the areas vacuums can't access. Plus, traditional wiping leaves static that pulls in more dust right away. Blowing removes dust completely without static, so your PC and tech stay cleaner longer. With the 130,000 RPM brushless motor, 6-speed adjustable airflow, and 1-tap Mega Boost for instant strong airflow, it's possible to blast away both light dust and stubborn grit. Even has a compact palm-sized body and 2-in-1 power bank function, making it perfect for professionals and people on the go. If you're interested in learning more about the Fantic B10 Pro Max or in buying one today, check out the links in the description down below. Big thanks again to Fantic for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
So we're going to give a shout out to our Discord community, specifically one person by the name of Kush Wraith. But basically, they recommended this Barebones PC, and it's kind of funny because Shuttle has been around apparently since 1983. They're a Taiwanese-based company, and they make these Barebones systems. They've been making them especially since like the early 2000s. We were able to get our hands on one. They sell them on their website. You can also get them on Amazon. You can even find them on places like eBay as well, I'm sure. And it's really cool because you can buy it basically ready to go. You just plop in a couple of parts like we have done here, and then you can start gaming or just use it for office work or even server work.
So the one that we have right here supports 6th and 7th gen. I had to do it, guys. I know it's dead, but I had to do it. Processors, Intel processors to be specific, and that is why this is good for budget builds, because obviously those gen processors, you're really capping out at like a 4-core 8-threaded i7, whether you're going the 6th gen or the 7th gen option, which we'll talk about our story on which one we went with and what ended up happening with the first one later. You don't want to miss that. But we decided to plan this build with the idea of it being a Steam machine. Specifically, we're using Bazzite, because SteamOS, it's fine, but Bazzite, in my opinion, is much easier to use if you're wanting that SteamOS-like interface. So we want to put something together because, look, it's so compact, you could put this in your living room using some spare parts, and we wanted to keep this as cheap as possible because the whole canvas is $99. How cheap could we make a build with a dedicated graphics card? Well, it was $300 total, and it's going to be compatible with version of Linux like Bazzite. So let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about each part that went into this Barebones system to make it a full gaming PC, and talk about some of the pros and cons of going down this route.
So to kick things off, originally we had an eBay CPU picked out, specifically an i7 6700 for $39.99, and when opening that, we believe that we may have nicked it with a knife, and it definitely knocked off a component. We tried it in the system and it just like wouldn't turn on. It was being all kinds of weird. Ultimately, we deemed the CPU was bad. That was totally our fault. And so we had a i7 7700T on hand, which I guess you could say is like a little bit of an upgrade, but it is a low power CPU. So we plopped that in there, and it actually comes with like a cool stock cooler. This is part of your Barebones kit. You can see you got heat pipes coming off here. It says not to use CPUs over 95 watts. So I think that, I mean, that's a pretty good limit. You can really use almost any of the i7s that are in the 6th to 7th generation. Now, like I said, the cooler is included with the case, and what's also included with the case is a motherboard. This board is a Shuttle XPC Z270 motherboard. So supposedly has the nicer Z series chipset rather than getting like a cheaper H or B series chipset. So that makes sense that you can use a nicer CPU with it. And a fun fact that Matt and I looked up is before Shuttle were making these whole entire PCs, they were actually a motherboard manufacturer. So clearly they have some experience in the motherboard game. All right, so here's one of the other things we had to buy separate, RAM, right? That's the sucky thing right now. So we ended up going with Micron 16 gig DDR4. It's a 2x8 gig kit, and it's 32 megahertz, and we paid $59 for it. And it's just real basic stuff. This was clearly pulled from another office PC. It is full-size DDR4. So that's another nice part about this, is you do have 4 RAM slots, and you don't have to get SODIMM or anything weird. You don't have to get ECC, just standard desktop RAM. And then we got a pretty decent deal on the SSD. $40 for a Intel 660p NVMe M.2 SSD. I remember Matt and I actually used Intel 660ps for a while in our PCs that we won at CES Vegas. That was a long time ago. And that is what's in here. So it's cool. This system can also take a M.2, specifically NVMe SSD. Now, obviously, this doesn't have Gen 4 support, so don't spend extra money on Gen 4 because it'll just run backwards in Gen 3, as well as your GPU.
All right, guys, now for the graphics card, which I was kind of debating what to go with, but I decided to take a trip down memory lane and go with an RX 580 2048. Now, the reason I went this route is when you're building a SteamOS/Bazai PC, you'll want to go AMD for the best compatibility, with the AMD driver being supported on the kernel level of Linux. So the 580 2048 made a whole lot of sense. Now, this specific Assurix model is one that we had on hand from another video that was just sitting on our GPU shelf. I really do not recommend any of these no-name brand RX 580s. I actually recommend you go on eBay and maybe even buy a legit RX 580 or even like a 470 or 480. Buy one of those models from like XFX, Gigabyte, or anything like that. Just stay away from these Assurix or these no-name brand models that you find on Amazon that are only like over $120. They are very unreliable, and we've tested these over the years. We've seen these for like 3+ years at this point, and they normally last decent out of the gate, but then die randomly. Talk to the PC Bros staff. They really hate these graphics cards. PC Bros Tech, you can buy a gaming PC from us today, and merch as well from Toasty Bros merch if you want that. There's a t-shirt right here. Look at this t-shirt. This t-shirt's sick.
Oh, can I get one?
You can get one too, Jackson. But the reason, again, I went the 580 is probably like the cheapest GPU that is AMD that would make sense for a Steam-based system. But if you are going Windows, you could also go the NVIDIA route. Get like a 1660 Super or even more budget, like 10 series card. You can plop it in here, and with the power that's in the system, you'll be good to go. Now, speaking of the power supply that came with the Shuttle PC, I will say is very generic and borderline jank, but it's a 500 watt power supply that comes with the necessary connectors we need. Got the 24 pin for the motherboard. We apparently get an 8+6 pin on this 500 watt, which is pretty acceptable for a GPU upgrade that you may want to do later down the line. And well, that's pretty much all you need. You also, I think, do we get some SATA? We do get some SATAs as well if you want to add some 2.5-inch drives as well. But all in all, 500 watts is plenty for this build. I wouldn't go much higher than, if we're talking old gen cards, like a 2060 level GPU to be reasonably comfortable within there. But you could go newer gen as well. But again, you really got to remember, you're going to be really bottlenecked by whatever CPU that is, either 6 or 7 gen. So you don't want to go super crazy with the graphics card here, but the power supply can handle it if you want to. And of course, the whole reason this build exists, the XPC Cube from Shuttle. It's a pretty cool looking case, I'm not gonna lie. It is pretty old school though, so it kind of have a soft spot in my heart for this style of case. But one thing that I will complain about is the RGB setup. It could be us, and you guys can let us know down below. I tried to look at it to see if ours was defective. For whatever reason, this RGB is just in a constant like cycle mode, and when it hits its peak brightness, that thing gets really bright. You can probably see it on camera, but there is a button up here that's like a little lightning bolt, which I would assume means you can change the color. It ain't changing the color. I don't know if it's a software thing, maybe it's a Windows-based thing where you need to install the software and then you can do it. If it is, not a huge fan of that, but 99 bucks, I can't complain. We got this light cycling, and I'm assuming if you just don't want it on at all, you could trace the wire where it's hooked up and just unplug it. But I don't mind having a little lighting because we're PC gamers. We love some lighting. So all in all, around $300 for this entire Shuttle PC. Now, this video, we're not gonna give you step-by-step guides on how to install Bazai and SteamOS. We've done this a lot. Jonah can agree, we've done this a lot. You guys can watch those videos, and we'll leave some links to those if you wanna see step-by-step how to do it. But just a quick explainer on how you can do it is you can go to Bazai's website, build an ISO, plug it in. You can see me installing it right here. It's a very simple process. We'll talk about the one mistake I did make with the install layer in this video, but it isn't detrimental to the performance of this PC. And once you get everything booted up, you will be in SteamOS, which, well, SteamOS, Bazai, same thing. The interface is really cool and it's great for couch gaming. But if you guys haven't seen what it looks like before we dive into gaming, we'll give you all a little tour of what it's all about, and then we'll show you guys what this thing is capable of. All right, guys, so we just went over all the parts that made this $300 Steam machine. Really cool for the price, but let's talk a little bit about the operating system. Again, we're not going to deep dive into how to install the operating system in this video. We've done so many videos on that. Definitely take a look at other Steam machine / Bazai videos we've done for a step-by-step guide. But what we have right here is the operating system if you haven't seen it before. This is Bazai, which is very, very similar to SteamOS, which gives you this nice interface that is very controller friendly. That's really the whole selling point here, is it's very controller friendly. If we're making a couch setup or a living room PC with this size, we want it to be controller friendly. That doesn't mean you can't use keyboard and mouse too if you want to. As you guys can see, I'm using my mouse, I'm using my keyboard. You can do that as well, and there is a desktop mode you can swap to if you want to. And the desktop mode can be accessed by hitting switch to desktop, but we're not really gonna switch to that right now. We're just gonna show you guys how this looks and how everything is working. So one thing you can do to verify everything is working once you install an operating system like this is you wanna go to the system settings and make sure that you're seeing all the proper proper drivers installed. So the version of Bazite we're running is Bazite Deck 43, which honestly, this actually is a version that was designed for a handheld, but I had it installed on a USB already and I just went with it, which seems to work just fine actually. But I do recommend if you are gonna watch a guide, download the proper desktop version for this. For whatever reason, it works perfectly fine on this hardware. It just might have some modified settings for certain handhelds, so disregard that, don't copy that specifically. But if we do scroll down here, you can see that we do have our CPU, our i7-7700T, our 4 cores and 8 threads. We have all 16 gigs of RAM and the default driver for the RX 580 2048 SP. There it is. That's the beauty of this setup, is Linux does have the driver for AMD GPUs on the kernel level. So when you install Linux, you have the driver ready to go with its 8 gigs of VRAM. Now, let's not waste any more time. You guys have seen how this operating system works. You got a bunch of games right here. You go to library, you can see all the other Steam compatible games that they recommend you can install that are just gonna run natively, or you can go through all your games and run the compatibility layer to run those games as well. But we have 9 games installed currently, which do seem, well, like a wide variety of games. Some games that are gonna be more keyboard and mouse based, like CS2. We also have Halo, which could be either or, and we have some older games, which would be a good representation of using older hardware like this, like a 580 2048 and an older i7, and make a couch gaming setup that can play older style games. Maybe not your super high-end AAA titles, but older games that'd be really fun to enjoy using some spare parts. Let's go and dive into some gaming. All right, guys, I figured I'd kick things off with CS2, and we're currently running the following settings as I am dead. Let me get this keyboard out of the way, Jesus. So we're currently running low settings. If you go to the video settings here, we are at 1080p. Really stressing the CPU here, but getting about 100 or so FPS running on these lower details. CS is obviously one that normally you probably wouldn't go to first if you are trying to play on a system like this, especially with Bazite installed, because, well, you're mainly gonna be using controller. But I just wanna show you guys that you do have the versatility to play games with keyboard and mouse as well, and this is one of those games where you're gonna wanna play with keyboard and mouse. Now, we are still getting some stutters here and there. It could very well be our CPU, because CS2 is a bit more demanding than previous CS generations, so having a slightly older i7 could be a problem, especially the T processor that doesn't boost as high. So we are still getting some stutters. I wouldn't consider this a little competitive box at all, but it is running pretty well. We're using about 9 gigs of RAM. And I do believe, and I apologize for this, the reason you're not seeing proper wattages for the GPU and CPU is because I'm running the deck version of Bazite. If you run the normal desktop version of Bazite, you most likely will see the TDPs of your GPU and CPU. But since I have the one that I believe is actually designed for the ROG Ally X and is probably confused on why there's not the ROG Ally X hardware, it's not showing the proper TDPs. But you can see the usages still as well, which still gives you a good indication on what's going on here. But 80 to 90 FPS, we're getting 100 at times. It's playable. Is this a game I would play primarily on a box like this? Not necessarily. This is not too, wait, I'm actually gonna do this? Oh, I thought I was gonna do it. We'll swap to another game. All right, guys, we are now in the controller game category, and we are playing Mouse PI for Hire, a new game that just came out, and we're currently running the following settings. Let's scroll through this paper. 1080p, 105 field of view, and we're currently running the high preset, which has a little bit of low, medium, high mixed in, but these are the settings we're currently running. Now, this is a fun game that just came out that I think is gonna be a pretty cool controller game to be able to play. As you guys can tell, it's in the old cartoon style, but it's based on Steamboat Willie, the patent or the trademark is probably the word I'm looking for, expired on Steamboat Willie, which allowed these game developers to create games like this, which is now in this style, which I think is pretty cool. Oh, I need to go through here. How do I swap to that? No, I'm just gonna shoot it. Forget it. Oh, we gotta pick this lock. I like that I'm just like, he's like putting his tail through here, which is absolutely insane behavior. But I mean, look at the FPS. We're getting 100 plus FPS, running higher settings. This game will run great on lower end hardware. Maintain 100 FPS, not too bad. Again, these are just fun games that get released on Steam. I believe it is on other hardware as well. I believe it's on some consoles. This is the kind of game that if you had a little PC like this on your couch, you could load up, enjoy, have a good time, and not have to worry about using your main desktop. It could be a nice couch environment. And just like I always like to demo, let's say I just want to swap games real quick. Hit the middle button, go home. Look at that. I am right back to the inventory of games that I have installed. Click here, go back in, we game it. Pretty cool little interface that you have right here, and this is a fun game that you definitely should try out. I've been playing it a bit, and right here it's gonna send me to a cutscene because I'm going to fall straight down to the ground and the opening cutscene begins. So This game runs absolutely great. Let's try another one. Now you guys remember when I said older games would run perfectly fine on this hardware and would be a great way to revisit some older games in your Steam library? Well, Bioshock Infinite is one of those games that definitely has a place in my heart. I really enjoyed this game. Currently running 1080p, high settings, and this 1080p part's important because look at the FPS we're getting currently. We're getting about 180 FPS. Let's say this is in your living room, and just like anyone in 2026 with how cheap they are, you have a 4K TV. You could play these older games at 4K 60 FPS, even on this hardware. No problems whatsoever. That's the beauty of this, is older games you can run perfectly fine on this hardware, and newer games you will have to drop the resolution, but you can still run and they will look absolutely great. And this game does hold up. Pretty fun. You haven't played any of the Bioshock games, you're new to PC gaming or gaming in general, the Bioshock games are definitely a fun game to dive into. Getting used to controller is probably the biggest thing. If you're like a console gamer or you're used to controller, or you could just really crank the aim assist. Aim assist actually isn't too bad on this game. It does take a little bit to get used to. Beautiful. Hey, 160 FPS, another example of an older game that runs pretty well. Let's bring Jackson in here to play a couple more games. We have some other ones that are easier to run. Oh gosh, leave me alone. We have Halo, which is gonna be one of his favorites. Older Halo will run great on this setup. And we also have some party style games. We have Peak, we have Super Battle Golf. Those are some other games that you can actually play with friends on a PC like this with multiple controllers and use this as a console setup.
All right, guys, we are playing some good old Peak. You know, this PC right here, running Bad Side, is just perfect for party style games. We're playing alone because we don't have friends, but if you got a lot of friends, great game to play. We are currently running 1080p, windowed full screen, and we're running like a medium low preset. We got a very high max FPS, and yeah, this is Bazite. Now we are running a modified version of Bazite. It's actually meant to run on a handheld, but in theory it doesn't affect anything besides our CPU and GPU percentage and wattage, maybe a little off, but the FPS is correct, and that's really what matters.
Yeah, FPS is pretty solid. I will say this game's kind of weird. I'm noticing the usages, like I don't know if it's CPU bound or RAM or whatever, but sometimes the GPU's at 100%, then it goes down to 0. So I don't know if we're getting bottlenecked in a certain scenario in this game. I don't know what is more demanding than others. We'll bump them and see if we break it.
We can go high, Matt.
He wants to go high. Oh, a little stuttery, but it's loading.
Load in. I don't know. I don't actually know if this is one of those games where stuff loads in. It may just keep being laggy.
60 FPS, close. Oh, it stutters.
I don't know. It looks a lot better. Nope.
It does look better, but a bit stuttery. So this could be limitations of either an older i7, being a 4-core 8 thread. It is a T processor, so clock speed is a little bit lower. And then you just sit in the bucket.
I'm freaking in it. No lag spikes. No lag spikes.
Oh.
Check that out, chat. So yeah, I mean, you know, game like Peak, what else would we have? Like, Are We There Yet? League of Legends, WoW. I mean, those kind of games should run pretty darn good on this. And if you're not into Linux, but it is cool to try, and also you do save on resources, you can install Windows. Unlike a lot of the, you know, kind of weird PCs like this is just really a standard PC.
And I do have another party game for him to play. One of his favorites as of late, Super Battle Golf.
All right, guys, we're playing Super Battle Golf, and I'm gonna show you guys the settings right when I hit. Watch this drive first.
Ooh, wait a minute, he's on something.
As George Bush once said.
Watch this drive.
Watch this drive. We're running 1080p, and we're running high settings, basically. So that's the reason why I feel like Peak was fine. I feel like Peak was just being weird.
Yeah.
We're getting 100 FPS right now.
Yeah.
High settings, no problem.
Totally
Easy.
fine. Yeah, 580-2048 is, I mean, still a capable GPU. It's just older in today's standards. But again, party games. These are fun. These are good and controller based. They're good if you want to play on the couch with a controller. This is a good controller game as well. But if you haven't played this game, it's basically like you take golf with friends and add an extra rage layer where you all can fight each other to the goal or the hole, not the goal.
It's a seriously bad level of rage, I would say.
This is it. You're gonna make
like it like ruins friendships.
It seems like honestly when you play with friends, there's more rage baiting because if you're playing against these randoms, you know.
Nobody knows each other, so
they're not gonna. That guy got done for. Oh, some springy.
Let me get that. Ooh.
The air horn is the best.
Yeah, the next person who goes to putt.
The air horn's the best. All right, who's gonna do it?
Come on, Grim Reaper, hit your ball.
He's like, he knows. All
right.
No, it failed.
That was horrible.
Oh, now he's not gonna get it in time. You have 4 seconds to hit it in.
Oh my goodness.
Speed.
Well,
run's good
tried.
though.
Yeah, run's great. We tried our best. And what's cool is you can actually just kind of hot swap on a lot of these games from controller to keyboard and mouse. So kind of like a lot of Windows games can as well. So
one more game, OG Halo.
Here in Halo Master Chief Collection, playing some good old-fashioned Halo Reach, and you guys can see we're getting some pretty crazy FPS right now. And I'll show you guys what settings we're on.
That's
This is
Halo.
a perfect time to
Yes.
show you guys the settings. So we're on the original graphics quality on borderless, and you can see game settings, Halo Reach. There's really not much to this. VSync off and limited frame rate.
Normal.
Normal.
I'm normal.
I mean, this game was never meant to be on PC, so they had to do some magic to get this to work. Oh, I don't know how to punch. I feel like everyone that's gonna be playing this is gonna be way better than me.
Yeah, so I was looking up player counts around 4,000 players, which I'm surprised you got into a game that quickly. It's not crazy high,
quick.
but we were joking. It's like better than Halo Infinite right now. I think Halo Infinite. I'm curious what that's at. Halo Infinite player count. Oh my God.
All-time low. Oh my God, these people are so good.
The Master Chief Collection is better.
Really?
The Master Chief Collection currently has 3,363. Halo Infinite player count right now, 830 people.
Oh. Yeah, that's actually at like a point of dead, sadly.
That's unfortunately
Because it usually was holding like 2 to 4K, I feel like, for
once
a
you get
long
up
time.
below 1,000, that ain't good, Chief. That ain't good.
Right. I'm sticking with my teammates for a second here because I have yet to look at what they're doing to us.
Oh, they're just top tier.
Oh my God.
Hey, your teammate got him.
You know what? I'll take an assist.
That is the downside of going back and playing these. There are people who have a PC who are probably only playing this game all day, every day. And Halo as an FPS it's different.
Yeah, when you haven't played it in a while, you forget. It's not like Call of Duty. Like everything's delayed. To like when I let off.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It doesn't instantly let off. It's just weird in many ways. Come at me. Come on, guys. Oh, wait, can I do the thing? I don't even know how to punch, actually, so I don't even know why. What button is it?
You got an assist off
There's
that,
no
though.
bind. There's
No bind to it?
Yeah, there's no bind. Well, even though punching is important in Halo, we don't need it. Did I get? No, I didn't get a kill. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we played and we had fun with it, and we're on a shuttle.
A shuttle ship, a Microsoft game running in Linux. What is going on here? But the benchmarks were fun. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up.
So $300 actually gets you pretty far with one of these little shuttle PCs. And what's really fun is that you guys don't have to follow this video step by step. If you wanted to, you could get a slightly better CPU, a slightly lower end one, and you could definitely get better GPUs as well because you do have some external power. So there's definitely a lot of options for you out there.
So shout out to the members of our Discord community for finding us this deal. If you guys find any cool stuff like this that you're like, hey, I would love to see what that's all about, but I don't want to spend my own money, the Toasty Bros can spend their money and make a video about it. Join our Discord server, discord.gg/ToastyBros. There's a Toasty suggestions part of the server where you can suggest stuff for future videos, and you can also follow for deals from the guy behind the camera with our Toasty deals. You can save some money on PC parts or laptops or really anything in the PC gaming space. But if you want to copy this build in particular, link description down below. They will be affiliate links and they will help us out. Let us know what you think of $300 for a Steam machine in 2026. Would you put one of these in your living room?
And as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros. And do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
So this PC will be for sale at PCBros.tech, and we'll probably throw Windows on it, but that's what's fun is once you get the PC, you can do whatever you want with the operating system.
PCBros.tech. We sell gaming PCs, gaming laptops, and as we mentioned, merch. You can buy merch and a bunch of other stuff. And I think we still have some signed CPUs as well on the website. There's some cool exclusive things and the marketplace. There's just so many things on PC Bros. If you haven't been to the website yet, browse around. You might get lost there. Use code ToastyBros on checkout. You will save 3% of your next purchase. See you guys later. Bye-bye.